Hi VC, it's Rob here with another video, and this video is going to be all about VC meetup that we had in Bristol a couple of weeks ago. My first VC meetup, so it was in Bristol, which is a 3-hour drive for me. It's been arranged for 3 or 4 months. So I was actually in Sheffield on the Friday evening before the meetup with my son. He'd arranged for me to go to a comedy show in Sheffield, so I had to drive down. Ideally I wanted to use the train, a bit more relaxing, but I had to drive down, so about a 3-hour drive. Got down to Bristol about just after 10. The record fair was in full swing. Huge record fair, over 4 floors, plenty of vendors, very busy. So just want to go through what happened on the day really. So when I got there, I was sort of wandering around a little bit, and you're sort of looking. I saw a few people, and I saw a guy, and I thought, is that Steve, Psych in the Valley? But I didn't actually approach him because I wasn't 100% sure that it was Steve. I also saw a guy who, maybe it was Steve Witty, but again, I didn't approach him. I was in sort of contact with 6-inch pianist John Downing through Instagram, and he'd said he'd arrived. So I was on the ground floor flicking through some records, and I turned to my right and John was walking towards me. No mistaking John. A bit taller than I thought he'd be on his videos. I got the impression that he was shorter than me, but he's actually over 6 foot, I would say. So made a few comments about that during the day. But John's someone who, before I joined the VC, I was watching his videos. I mean, when you've got a VC channel, there's people watching who are not subscribers to you, and that was probably like me. At the beginning of 2019, I was watching VC videos, Steve Carlson, James Griffiths, and decided to start my own channel. And John's one of the reasons why, really. So to meet him, it's a weird feeling to meet someone who you've been chatting to and watching for over a year. But a really warm, engaging, nice guy. Really, really nice to meet John. And he said that Steve Witty was here, and he pointed, and Steve was at the top of the stairs. So I made my way up there, introduced myself to Steve. Again, really nice guy. Had a brief conversation, and a guy called Chris was there, who's got a channel, Merely Chris. Doesn't do many videos now. I am subscribed to his channel. He'd come down with his wife, I think she's called Jill. They come down from Newcastle for the weekend. So nice to meet Chris as well. So we sort of all split off different directions really, because the fair was so big, and from time to time you'd come across John or Steve. And then Martin Parrot was there. So I saw John speaking to somebody, and I presumed that it was Martin. Martin was doing what Martin does, which was looking through a box of records that most people would leave alone. But he was finding stuff. Martin likes a bargain. The only thing predictable about Martin's choice of music is the unpredictability, because he literally shows all sorts of stuff. So I had a conversation with Martin as well, really nice guy. So we was walking around the record fair, thought I'd show. I took quite a lot of money with me, because we was at the record fair, and then was told there's quite a lot of good record shops in Bristol that we was going to go to as well. So the first record that I bought from the fair was this one, and it's a 12-inch single of The Man Don't Give a Fuck by the Super Furry Animals, and this is a limited edition. And it does actually say there that over 50 times it uses the word fox. So, but it's a favourite live. But anything by the Super Furries, if I see it on vinyl, I tend to grab it. This wasn't cheap, it was like 15 quid. That guy on the front cover is a footballer called Robin Friday, who played for Cardiff City. And football played quite a big part on the day, really, because discovered that John Downing was an Aston Villa fan. You know, I'm not going to hold it against him. You know, we've all got our problems. And Steve Alexander, Psych in the Valley, is a Swindon fan. I knew that anyway, because we chatted on the comments. When he does a video, I tend to mention football more than the records he's showing. And Steve Witty's a Walsall fan. So we've all got our cross to bear. But yeah, so I was pleased to find this. Not an easy one to find. I mean, the super furry animals are from Cardiff, so it's not too far from Bristol. So yeah, maybe no surprise that I managed to grab this. So yeah, super furry animals, 12-inch. Now, John was walking around. I saw him a couple of times. I've not actually grabbed anything. So I felt under pressure to get something. So when I saw that, I was really pleased. I mean, the trip for me, it was more about what I didn't buy. I did see a copy of Murmur by REM for 15 quid, and I think maybe I should have picked that up. There was also a 12-inch of Wildwood, the Portishead version. Portishead is very close to Bristol. I thought maybe I'd see some Portishead stuff. Massive Attack, Tricky, Brilliant Corners, they're all bands from the Bristol area, but I never actually saw much by those artists. So at the fair, I was sort of drawn to one seller who had a big box where everything was half price. So I picked this album up, Shoots to the Arrow by the Shins. So this album's from 2004. And James Mercer is the singer, sort of a solo project. This album was really highly regarded in 2004. I've got it on CD. Even on lists of the best albums of between 2000 and 2010, this album is up there. It does remind me of Badly Drawn Boy, but when I saw it for, it said £15, so it was half price. £7.50. I had to grab it. Yeah, really nice artwork as well, and a really good album. So that was a really good pick-up. Also picked up this for half price, so ended up costing me £3. New Order and Thieves Like Us. So I'm always after New Order 12 inches. I do have quite a few. Quite a few have migrated over to Sheffield with my son. So for £3, really nice clean copy, as you can see. So I was really pleased to find that. So, and also in the box. Now this was in the box next to it, so this wasn't half price, and it had £10 on it. But I thought I'd grab it. Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers. So this is on Berkeley, and you don't see Jonathan Richman albums that often. In the same box there was another album from 1979, which in hindsight I should have picked up. This has got really funny sort of abominable snowman in the market on here. Here comes the Martians back in the USA, rocking shopping centre. Really fun listen, Jonathan Richman. I'm not sure whether I'd want his entire back catalogue, but this is a real good fun album. Really, I've never seen it before, so yeah, really pleased to grab this one. And this one was £10, but the guy on the stall sort of had this as half price as well, so it ended up costing me £15 for those 3 albums. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. So what we did then was I was stayed till the record fair till about 1 o'clock, and then we all met sort of in the foyer and decided that we were going to go to a pub, and that's where I actually met Steve Alexander, Psych in the Valley. So we had a nice chat, walking to find a pub. So eventually we found a pub because the pubs were all pretty busy. The rugby was on and it's a Saturday afternoon, places are busy. But we found a pub, sat down, chewed the fat, showed what we'd bought. Just a really nice, chill atmosphere. None of these people I'd ever met before, really welcoming. And that's when John Bellamy appeared. John had been watching his sons play football in the morning, but John only lives about an hour away from Bristol, so he came about 1:30, I think. Introduced himself, really nice guy. And at this point, Martin Parrot was handing VCLT out, and he was looking at people and showing records. He actually gave me a couple of VCLT, so he gave me this 12-inch by Spill. I had no idea who Spill were, but it's Beth Orton and William Orbit, so nice 12-inch dance track, so I'm really pleased to receive this. I took some VCLT down, but I left it in my car and then we headed in the opposite direction, so yeah, that was a bit of a mistake by me, but I'm going to be sending VCLT out. Got the addresses of most people that were there on the day, so yeah, it's one of the nice things when you go on a VC meetup. People bring VCLT for each other and just hand records out. I mean, people watching must think, who the hell are these people? But yeah, really nice atmosphere in the pub. Couple of pints and some free records. So another freebie from Martin Parrot was this one. Rat Cat, who I didn't have a clue about, but he seems to think I might enjoy it. When he first showed it, I thought it was Dr. Hook. But when I looked at the back, I thought, yeah, these guys look quite indie. Bit of research on these guys from Australia from 1991. This was actually the second biggest selling release of 91 in Australia, so big hit, big sales in Australia, just behind Bryan Adams. So I'm really grateful to Martin to he brought loads of stuff. He was just handing it out, and yeah, really generous. So after we were in that pub for a while, we decided that we was going to go and look around some of the record shops in Bristol. So we went to an area which was a bit like an old-fashioned market, and inside there was about 4 vendors selling records. I didn't actually buy anything from those vendors, just a combination, just nothing really that grabbed me. I did see a squeeze 12-inch pink Cool for Cats for £15, which never actually seen before, but I decided to pass on it. So a few people bought stuff from those record shops in Bristol. If I'd have known what was in there, I would certainly have bought more stuff at the record fair. So after we went around those shops for a while, we went to another bar, a few more drinks. Obviously I was driving, so it was quite limited as to what I could drink. In the second bar, John Bellamy brought out a bag and gave some VCLT out to people. Had a really nice chat with Steve Alexander. He was sort of glued to his phone because his team Swindon were playing away at Carlisle, so he was keeping track of that score and he was informing me how my team Oldham were doing. And we just chewed the fat about music, spoke about the VC, just had a nice, probably in there for an hour and a half maybe, just chatting. And as the evening sort of drew in, once it got to about 5 o'clock, people started to head home. Steve Alexander, a little bit worried about the weather. He was the first to go, shook hands and got contact details for Steve, and sure I'll be sending some stuff his way very shortly. And then I think Chris and his wife, they left us. Martin Parrot, who I had a a nice long chat with, telling me about his job, and you know, it's just an opportunity to get to know people on the VC. You know what music habits they've got, but to actually meet people in person, you know, it's a totally different experience, and it's something I fully recommend if you have the opportunity to go to a VC meetup. You know, grab it with both hands. It's something in the UK we like to do a couple of times a year, and there is been talking about maybe going up to Newcastle later in the year and doing another meetup, and that's something I'll certainly go to. Steve Witty had to go because he had to get his bus, so you know, goodbye to Steve, and you know, thanks for his company. Really nice guy. John had to go as well, so it was really nice meeting John, someone I've followed on the VC for as long as I've been on the VC, so it's weird when, you know, you actually meet people in person, but what I've found is everybody who's on the VC, you know, they're all nice people, all got a common interest for music, so it was just left with me and John at the end. John was getting his train, so we walked to where we had to make our move in different directions, and I went and got the car, and John went and got his train. So yeah, that's how it was in Bristol. Really good VC meetup. Didn't pick up as many records. For me, it wasn't about buying records really. It was about sort of networking, meeting people, you know, putting a personality and a feel for people, instead of just seeing them on the VC talking about music, and it didn't disappoint. Really good day. I had quite a long drive home, quite tired, but managed to get home safely. So all I can say is can't wait for the next VC meetup, maybe October, November later this year. So that's all about the VC meetup in Bristol. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and bye.